What's up, family? Welcome back to the Stop Sinking Show, where we go from struggle to flow. All of us have goals. We all have places that we are trying to get to. And if you've been living this way, where you have goals, chances are what you have now, this exact moment, are some things that were just goals in the past tense. But you got here. And you will get to the future goals too if you keep at it. Achieving the goal is just one thing. It's what you do after you have gotten there that determines what becomes of you. How many more continuous goals are actually accessible to you? What do I mean by that? Isn't the achievement of the goal or getting something, solving something, isn't that in itself evidence that you are becoming? Yes and no. Let's talk about why. Because it is what you do after you have made it there that determines whether you keep it. And there's a lot of different ways that this manifests, and I'll share a few examples starting with money. A lot of people make money. A lot of us know what to do to make money. We know how to make it. But very few know how to keep their money. And if that wasn't true, we wouldn't have people that live paycheck to paycheck, and we wouldn't have people that struggle when they get into retirement. No matter how much or how little you make, if you pay yourself first, if you have a habit built in of saving, then you are one of a few small percentage of people who know how to keep it. Think about lottery winners, for example. Because that money that came all of a sudden was without hard-earned character, that comes with someone who actually knows how to make millions. Usually for lottery winners, the story goes the 1/3 of them go broke or bankrupt within 3 to 5 years of winning the lottery. Because they never learned to develop the discipline to keep it. So easy come, easy go. We all foolishly think the work is getting somewhere, getting to the goal, getting to the higher income, getting to a certain position or a place or a title. But it's what you do once you are there that will determine how much of an impact that incremental edge really gave you. That extra title, how much of it really makes a difference in your life? If you increase your expenses and lifestyle right along with the extra earnings, then you will have very little to show for any goals that you achieve if you continue to expand what you take from it. The process of erosion starts immediately as soon as you get there, because now it's your job to keep it there. Growing up in New York, a short drive from Atlantic City casino trips, we always used to joke and say, many people get lucky and make money at the casino. But the real test is, how much do you drive back on the Jersey Turnpike with? Because chances are, with how greed works, usually the person who wins at the casino ends up losing it right back and then some. We all make it. Very few actually keep it. Let's talk about health and fitness as an example. Starting with the most basic and well-known phenomenon. Whether you take those weight loss shows as an example, or look at people around you, or look up many studies about people that go on diets, only about 10 to 15% of the people who lost the weight keep most of that weight off. More than 40% of the people actually gain back more weight than they originally lost. Statistically speaking, most people are able to do things in short sprints, but the actual identity shift and lifestyle shift it takes for these habits to stick for a long term only happen with a small percentage of people. Most people that go on weight loss journeys end up crash dieting and mess up their entire body composition and end up unhealthier than when they started. Starting anything is easy. Continuing it, keeping it going, that's the thing that most people cannot do. Anyone can make the initial investment. Anyone can pretend to be a better version of themselves for a little bit, but then they set their temperature right back to what they're used to. And it's really all that follows the initial investment that makes the difference. How much of it really shifted you as a being. Recently, I had this argument with my own father, who does a poor job at caring for his own health after having fought so hard. He himself fought so hard through cancer. I'm not saying that fighting cancer and going through treatment was easy. What I am saying is making the daily choices now to keep yourself as healthy as possible is a much difficult thing to do because it has no clear end. Lifestyle change is a lifetime thing. And it's hard for people to wrap their head around the idea that they have to give up the way that they knew life to be, as old habits die hard and tendencies exist to pull us right back into our old patterns. And thinking about my father and his cancer and some of the choices he makes, there's a Joey lyric that is quite long, but I'm tempted to share it. He talks about his uncle Mike who got cancer. I think the Lord about to call upon Mike. Mike got high and he wasn't too strong. Doc said he got cancer and it wouldn't be long. Said in another 6 months he'll be gone. Pop still play that one gospel song every morning. Stopped getting high so it's no more pipe. And they found medicine that would extend his life. Years pass and Mike's still here. He's not hurt. Gospel song every morning. That's funny how God works. Wait, he's got the disease. He's different again. He's starting to get sick and shit's missing again. Not a monthly check he's spending again. Goddamn, Uncle Mike is sniffing again. Dad, Mike sprung and God put the cancer in his lungs like, fuck that cure. You had a choice. Disease is so cunning when you trip and high. You can't throw away the gift of life. You take it or leave it. Play it to keep it. Sacred, treat it. Because if the Lord come take it, you heed it. You can't throw away the gift of life. You take it or leave it. You got to play it to keep it. Sacred, treat it. Again, if the initial investment is hard and arduous, the keeping it is the real work. The work begins after you earn it. Life begins after the fight for it ends. That's the real life, harder than the fight. There's a saying in bodybuilding, when most prep is happening and people diet down to crazy low body fat levels to step on stage, the tendency after a show for most people is to binge eat. It's not unheard of for people to gain 20, 30, 40 pounds back over one weekend and 2 days and 3 days after having dieted down for the stage. So there's a saying that most coaches will tell you about the diet going into bodybuilding. And that is, the real diet starts after the show, when you have no clear reason to do it, when there's no stage or show coming up anymore, when it isn't as easy as the goal that you are after, when you can see a clear end and a definitive end to. This is the idea of infinite games versus finite games. You don't win at health and fitness. It's an infinite game. And the one who wins is the one who can continue to play the longest, not the one that reaches some fictitious end. It makes very little sense to do something that you cannot sustain and do forever. It's the real player of infinite games is the one who really keeps it. And you become that person, that player of infinite games along the way to your goal. Still though, while achievement is what we are after to reach our goals, because we have no other way or metric of measuring progress in our life, most heroes though are on two journeys. And the second, other than achievement, is the one of transformation. And that part isn't guaranteed. It requires you, while you are going through things, to be porous, to let life open you up along the way. There's no shortage of people that come out of traumatic situations or near-death experiences and go right back to risk-seeking behavior and throw away their life in the incremental sense of every day and the choices they make. Most people who fight for organ transplants don't care enough for themselves post-op to even take the medicine. The value of life isn't automatically instilled in you because you have a brush with losing it. The value of money isn't automatically instilled because you have worked so hard to earn it or not. The value of anything isn't inherently recognized by us. We're constantly, though, displaying our values by our actions. Do we live for the moment or do we optimize for the future? And maybe things are so bad in your life that it makes no sense to store up goods for the future. Maybe the only place you can find peace is in this moment alone. Maybe the equation doesn't add up right for you. If you have even a little bit of life left, you think, maybe it's better to live as much and as dangerously as you can now. Because what do we really get to keep anyway? So while I won't make a case that an attempt to keep anything makes it permanent, or that it's the best thing for you to do, I will end with this. While the forces of nature exist and some work against you, while they already exist and there's things already against you, at least you don't be the reason that you lose everything that you have worked so hard to earn. Play it to keep it. I love you, family. Stay true always. I'll see you on the next show.